Hello and welcome. In this video we're going to talk about directory submissions and we're going to explain how they fit into the whole overall off-page SEO process. Now, directory submissions are an interesting animal in the respect that there are literally millions of directories out there that you can submit your website to. And every man and his dog can really create a directory of something relating to a specific topic or a specific area, and they can structure it in a way where they can invite you to join the directory submission service. Now, when we're actually looking at using it, we're using it from a slightly different perspective because we're combining it with all of the other tools that we're using in our little off-page SEO arsenal. And what we're looking at using it for is as an authoritative method of letting the search engines know of the location that you're located in and that you are a physical, real business. Now, the benefit of using directories in this particular way is if you have all of your other off-page SEO factors that are going and doing their job, what this is going to do is it's going to build more of an authority in the search engine's eyes, specifically Google, and it's going to let them know that you are actually where you say you are and you are a legitimate business. So when you're using your directory submission services, what you want to focus on is doing it once and doing it well, and then getting your business listed on there. Because the fact is, with a lot of directory submission services, is that not all links are built the same. And if you look at some of the more generic link building services that you can get through directory submissions, you can literally get thousands and thousands of links going back to your site. And I've actually experienced a couple of times when they're coming from less reputable directory houses, a situation where their pages are actually affected in ranking until you're actually able to find a way to remove or disregard those links coming back to that site. So with that in mind, it's important to know and to note when you're actually using it to submit to directories, you're using it as a credibility builder and an authoritative builder only, not literally just to get thousands of links back to your site. So what are the main directory submission houses that you should use? And there are a couple that I'm going to run through here, and I'm going to give you a list of, I think it's 64 US-based directory submission houses that you can submit to, but there are two that I would always recommend every business considers. The first one is DMOZ. Now, DMOZ is a free directory submission service, and it's actually it's a part of the world's largest human-controlled directory service. And when you actually look at submitting to DMOZ, someone has to physically, manually approve it. And what happens is they have a series of volunteers that work for DMOZ, and those volunteers will go through and they'll have a look at their specific area or their specific region that they're being designated, and they'll go through and they'll manually control who is added and who isn't added to it. And they have a really strict set of guidelines that they have to follow whenever they're looking at adding someone to it. And if you've ever had a look at DMOZ, and you'll understand what I'm talking about, it's a very there are actually a lot of different areas and a lot of different sub areas. And when you're looking at submitting your site to it, you really need to make sure that you're focusing on the exact right area, and you're looking at the the right niche within the area. Because if you don't, what you normally find is your actual directory submission gets rejected, and then it sits there in limbo. You then get stuck in the process where you're going round and round and round in circles, and as a result, you don't get listed on DMOZ. So DMOZ is a really good one to consider, and making sure you have someone experienced, or you really do the research when you're submitting onto DMOZ, as getting a link back from DMOZ is actually seen to be fairly credible within the major search engines' eyes. Now, the other one to consider is Yahoo. And Yahoo have one of either two options. You can go and submit your site using a free directory submission. And when you look at submitting it as a free directory submission, they don't actually give you a guaranteed period of time. And you can actually look at multiple submissions to looking at getting included. I cannot say that there is anything that actually shows, there's any information that shows that if you submit more often that that Yahoo actually consider your directory submission faster and sooner, because I've tried it previously myself and I haven't noticed any difference in speed with the actual submission. They do offer a preferred submission where you pay $299, and that's an annual charge. And as a result of doing that, they'll review it within a much shorter period of time. And when they actually review it, they'll actually acknowledge whether or not your submission is accepted or if it's rejected. If it's rejected, then you get your money back. If it's accepted, then it basically appears on the Yahoo directory, which Google use definitely. Google use very, very proactively when they're used as a ranking factor to understand how they're going to rank a site. And you get charged it annually, as I mentioned. So when the next year rolls up, you pay the $299, and then you get you get resubmitted, or you continue to stay within the directory. They do, as a side note, they do charge extra for adult-based content. I think off the top of my head, because I've never actually submitted any adult-based content, that is $599 per year for a submission. So what I've included here is I've included the 30-minute SEO top 64 directories that I would recommend that you actually submit to. Now these are manual submissions that you would go through, and with the majority of them you need to go through and register, and then you receive a confirmation email. After you receive the confirmation email, you need to click on a link, and then that goes through and that starts up the process of your submission. The other thing about the 64 directories that I'm recommending, not all of them are general. Some of them are actually industry or niche specific. So you need to go through and have a look at them and see whether or not that's something which is within your serviceable area or the client or a potential client serviceable area. So here they are here. And they are a massive list if I'm going through and showing them. And they're from a variety of different websites and directory submission houses. So go through, and I've actually attached this list as well for you to have a look at, and go through and have a look to see whether or not this is the sort of, or these are the sort of directories you'd like to submit to. So to summarize, directory submissions. We're using it as an overall part of our off-page SEO process, and we're using it as a way to gain authority back to your site and to let the major search engines know that your site is located where it is and it is an actual physical business. When you're using it, make sure that you always use it as a part of your other SEO components.